What's going on, everybody? Eric Lindquist at Stochastic here on the Odd Chopper channel, coming to you with another edition of Lindy's Leans, Likes, and Locks. Hit that like button, subscribe button, notification bell. Goes a long way for me on this video. Goes a long way for you. That way you become apprised of our great content is going live here at our little neck of the YouTube woods. Hope you enjoyed your NFL Sunday. I got more right than I got wrong. That's the goal. Premium Discord, good times. Got the big Travis Kelce anytime touchdown, got upgraded to a lock, as well as the Saquon Barkley smash. Now, I hope he's okay after 2 touchdowns, pulling the team on his back in that second half. Him and Daniel Jones went nuts. You got Hyatt playing some football. That was a fun one to watch. Had my guy Brock Purdy, shout out Iowa State, my alma mater, looking fantastic. And then Puka Nacua, what a wonderful phrase. Puka Nacua. Somebody was on him week 1. I wasn't going to do any passing phrase, but feeling good about a lot of the things here in the first 2 weeks of the NFL. If you want to jump in that premium Discord, you can sign up below or go to stochastic.com/Lindy. Come hang out there. I'll talk about Caesar Sportsbook in a little bit. If you want to get a jump start there, go on down below as well to the link. Bet $50. Get yourself $250 as weekly bonus bets of $50. Look at that. I can read the screen. It's only if you're 21 and over. And if you have a gambling problem, please call 1-800-GAMBLER. But we'll get to that a little bit later. Again, hope you enjoyed your NFL Sunday. Hope you made a little bit of money. I'm over on the Stochastic YouTube channel talking a little NFL live before lock. Every single Sunday with my buddy Mac Kajeski. Come hang out. Come have a good time. We're talking some DFS, throwing in a bet or two as well. And then, of course, NFL, Lindy's, Leans, Likes, and Locks. Appreciate everybody tuning in. And for the 99.9% nice words about the program. Not going to hit them all every single week. I'm not going to hit them all probably any week. What are you trying to do? Go 11-0, 10-0? We're looking for the best numbers, and we hit the best numbers with Kelce, Saquon. That feels good. End of the beginning of this program. Let's talk a little MLB because this is also a huge time for baseball. It is AL, the divisional races that you got in the AL East. You got the NL starting to sort itself out a little bit, but 11 games. Some games that matter, some that don't. I'm going to be talking implications as we round down this regular season into the playoffs. Want to be keeping you apprised in the next 2 weeks of what games might matter, what might not, what teams might do. Because if you can speculate, you can appreciate and get yourself some dollars. It'll be good. Producer Jacob's on hand here. He's ready to rock with another week of the MLB streets. Let's be serious. He's ready for NFL next weekend. I think I'm ready for NFL next weekend as well. But we got MLB. Let's get to the picks. Good God almighty, it's the AL Central, which my Twins are basically just locked in now, like minus infinity, 1,000 to win the division. That feels good. That feels good. But then you have to break down games like this, where what are the implications of good or bad? It's guys playing for their job. It's AAA kids trying to stick around, send out a good impression before the spring. Oh, it's going to be a little bit interesting, but it's Cal Quantrill and Brady Singer, and both of these guys, I think you know by now, not the best pitchers on planet Earth, but Cal Quantrill, I think I want to be targeting him in some capacity here if I can, mainly because, well, he's a decent enough favorite here, minus 115. What are we doing? Cal Quantrill, 363 xWOBA, 286 expected batting average, just a 12.7% K rate. For me, that's kind of what starred, highlight, centered for me, because Logan Porter gets called up. He's smashing baseballs at the AAA level, started smashing them in like his 1 weekend in the bigs here. Nelson Velasquez the whole time, Bobby Witt Jr. the whole time, Edward Olivares, Sal Perez, Michael Massey, MJ Melendez. These are all guys with over a 420 expected slugging that if you are not getting them to strike out, they hit the ball hard and far. So Kansas City, I like the complexion of this lineup more than I like it on the Cleveland side, where you have Jose Ramirez, you sometimes have Gabriel Arias. You sometimes have David Fry. You sometimes have Josh Naylor. But for the most part, it's a bunch of misfits and like has-beens in the Cole Calhoun-centered grouping, if you will. Don't even know what I'm trying to say there. What I'm trying to say is that I'm going to be betting on Brady Singer to possibly have one of those games that we kind of were expecting from him coming into this season. He had a really nice 2022, pitched in the World Baseball Classic, was pretty decent for the U.S. side, but it has been a terrible, no good, very bad season for him. 4.94 expected ERA coming off of last season's 3.97. A 5.50 actual ERA. Last season, 3.23. You know what I'm getting at? Let's get some good juju, some good vibes going here in the fall as we kick it into the spring if you're looking at Kansas City. Although they're in my Twins division, I don't want them to be good. I just want Brady to be good on Monday morning. Yeah, this is like a Monday morning baseball game. So we're going to the Kansas City side. If we do anything here, thinking we want to be firing it up, but I'm just putting it as a lean because there's other games coming up later. I want to fire, and because NFL's going and it's a doubleheader, I'm going to be firing up some props in the premium Discord and firing up more there. I don't know if I need to start my day off with an L, so just going to be sitting around thinking about it. Going to look at these lineups, see if they're normal, and then maybe pull the trigger. Still a little bit to be determined here in this one. My Minnesota Twins, oh, it feels good here. I'm a day away from my birthday, and well, you could give me a present by just going into Great American Small Park and hitting lots of home runs, because I feel like I'm going to want to pull the trigger on that. Not that the books are going to be completely unknown to the fact that, like, hey, there's some power in this Minnesota lineup, and if you're not getting swing and miss to them, you're certainly going to see balls travel high and far. Hi, Royce Lewis. How are you this fine day? But before we talk about him, let's talk about Captain Phillips. I mean, Connor Phillips, who's probably going to be your starter for the Cincinnati Reds. 2 outings, 8 2/3 innings at the big league level so far in the month of September, both of them in the month of September. 8.31 ERA, 1.85 whip, 3 home runs allowed. Just saying, that's it. Just repeating numbers, and they're not good numbers. And you go through some of his AAA stuff, and you look at some of his pitch mixes. AAA Louisville wasn't exactly the perfect time for him. He wasn't all that good. I mean, 3.77 ERA, 1.40 whip, had strikeout stuff to a certain extent. Again, he's got to get that swing and miss going. He had 7 of those against Seattle, but when he's giving up this kind of hard contact in Cincinnati, it's going to take some time to get adjusted. So hopefully he can use some momentum for the Cincinnati Reds team that's hard not to cheer for. I like so many of their young pieces. It's a bummer that they couldn't stay healthy for this entire pitching staff, because you got some dudes. Exciting times to be in Cincinnati, if that's a thing. Anyway, we got Joe Ryan on the other side of this one. He has been solid across the board. Now, what I'm worried about with Joe Ryan is he got the 4.20 ERA despite a 1.13 whip, and that you could see some regression come postseason time for the K stuff. 29.2% this season. That is a massive spike that we're seeing in terms of swing and miss from him. He's got the decent enough stuff, but a 31% ground ball rate just isn't going to cut it, especially in a spot like this where pop flies can leave the yard, but still a 3.44 expected ERA this season next to a 4.20 ERA. That makes me interested in the Minnesota money line, obviously, compared to Phillips, but gotta say, I want to see this number. It better be inside of minus 175. If it's not, there's no way that I'm getting near this thing. I'm very curious where books open this. I don't even know, because I couldn't even find something in other places that you kind of scour the internet for. Couldn't find any kind of projected number for it, so I had to kind of do my own break-even number. I was hoping that I was going to get better than plus 165, but alas, we don't have the number yet. If you want to bet this and you're curious like I am, because it's my team in a fantastic hitter's ballpark, hit me up on Twitter at Eric Lindquist, or X, whatever you want to call it, at Eric Lindquist. I'm happy to respond to you. If I see your message, I guarantee you I will fire it back right away. But until then, Royce Lewis, hi, love him. Minnesota Twins, hi, love them. I'm going to lean both their directions. We'll see where the chips fall. Kind of a weird game here with the Mets and the Marlins. I love alliteration, though. That's why this program is Lindy's Leans, Likes, Locks, and Losers, and laughs, and I don't know. Kind of made fun of myself there. But that's kind of what's endearing about me. Anyway, some people don't like it, and that's just fine. But also, fuck you. Jose Vuto, really like him. He's fun. He's an enjoyable back in some capacity. I was kidding. But he's been decent. 319 expected slugging, 309 xWOBA, 20.2% K rate, but a 15.8% walk rate. He's kind of TBD. Yeah, you know me. Who's down with TBD? Yeah, you know me. I'm not really sure what to make of his pitch mix, because he seems like a regular dude as you work through. I mean, average fastball velocity sitting around 94. Not a whole lot of stuff that's crazy, but he's so good at avoiding barrels. Just a 2.7% barrel percentage now in a decent enough sample size. Again, over 400 pitches now this season. It's a very small sample size, but still better than most. Better than most. Better than most. But what makes this so weird to me is that I think on the Mets side, we're going to see them rotate in some different dudes. Like a lot of different dudes as we get down to the end of this season. I don't think we're going to have Lindor and Alonso out of the lineups by any means, Nimmo, but I think the back half of this lineup, Brett Beatty getting recalled here at third base, has been back for a week or two now. Jonathan Araz, who I do not find to be a bat at all. Jeff McNeil's been struggling. Maybe you put him on the shelf. They've had Tim LaCastro mixing in. Omar Narvaez, they're more apt to let go out and, do what he wants to do. And then instead of Vogelbach DHing, it'll be, DJ Stewart some days. Francisco Alvarez has been DHing primarily instead of catching. It's just, there's a lot of weird things I think you got to be paying attention to with this New York Mets lineup, because I got too much money invested in some of these guys to let them rip here in this spot. And we know Cohen's just looking ahead, going to try to buy himself a baseball team. Round 2, fight. Anyway, Edward Cabrera is going to be somebody that I'm going to at least try to make a thing here in this spot, because I like the profile. 28.4% K rate, 195 expected batting average, and one of the best pitchers ballparks that exists down there in Miami, but a 16.1% walk rate. And this New York Mets lineup that I'm projecting out for this game, if it has Jeff McNeil, that's a disaster, because he has just a 10.7% K rate. And then you got Omar Narvaez. He's been in the lineup more and more, 18.3%. So I'm going to be very reactive to how this Mets lineup looks and what the books drop for this number. Yet another spot that I wish I could be more concrete in my analysis, but I'm here to give you good analysis, at least in theory. That's the point. If I wanted to hear myself talk, I'd just sit in front of a mirror. I want to make you fucking money, guys. Edward Cabrera, if you could get to 8 strikeouts, that would be lovely. Got to see this Mets lineup. Lots of things waiting in the wings. That's kind of the theme of the next week or so of baseball before we really have a good idea of who's going to just phone it in and who is absolutely going to be playing for it all. Finally, we reach a like. It's about damn time. Mike Clevenger starting to look a little bit more Mike Clevenger-ish. You'll see what I mean by that. On the other side of this one, John Adon. I mean, I'm a Don with him. I don't know. That's weird. 47.5% hard hit percentage, 19.2% K rate. Neither of those are good. 450 expected slugging. He's got a 4-seamer and a sinker and a slider and a change and a curve, and none of it impresses me. Absolutely none of it. 37.5% ground ball rate. That's not good. And then he's got Keibert Ruiz back there catching a majority of his games. Him and Yasmani Grandal, 2 of the worst defensive catchers at this point in time, mainly because in an era where teams are stealing more, they're 2 of the weaker arms that sit behind home plate. So that's something that I'm like ever so slightly putting into player projections. I don't generally end up moving any kind of a line as a result of it, but want to at least talk you through the process of like things to pay attention to as we revamp our process going into next season. Because yes, I'm still going to be going back, looking over my baseball stuff, trying to reverse engineer what I got right, what I got wrong, how I can improve next season. Because again, life is about improvement. And then you die, and then there's nothing you can do about it. But until then, it's fun. Mike Clevenger, 7.2% barrel percentage, 34% hard hit percentage, 394 expected slugging. I like all of these numbers. These numbers sound like things I would like to back when you're basically close to that minus 110 type number. I have anything inside of minus 130 as a play, and I do expect that when people see Jonah Don on the other side of this one, and inside of minus 120, inside of minus 125, they're going to bet this lineup. I get the White Sox are not good. I get that Adon, in theory, has stuff, but I don't see it. So there's that. I have not seen it at any point in time. Pretty easy backing, I think, for a half unit, mainly because I can't do anything if the bats are quiet from the White Sox side, but I absolutely want to be invested in Clevenger, continuing to keep his foot on the gas here as he finishes out this season, coming off of 6 innings, only 2 earned against Kansas City, 7 innings, no earned against Detroit. One really bad outing in the middle of that, but otherwise, it's been pretty damn good from Clevenger for the last month and a half or so. Another like, before we hit the halfway point, we're kind of like there's a half, there's 11 games. There's not really like, I'm not going to do Caesars and talk about them in the middle of a game. I have big hands that like, oh, no, any casual, I want to put on the mask. Producer James really disappointed with me as a person. Zach Wheeler, he's not disappointing at all. He will not be absent of his father's love, going up against Kyle Wright on the other side of this. And Kyle Wright, he's been in the wrong more than not. This is really about making myself laugh today and like pushing through until the NFL tomorrow. But Kyle Wright, 7.48 ERA, 1.89 whip. Oh my God, look at that ERA. It is so big. It's like one of those bad pitchers' ERAs. We got basically a lot of opportunity to just pick on him, but I just can't. He's got to improve. There's nowhere for him to go but up. And Atlanta knows how they're handling these pitching situations. They're not going to put out a dead Kyle Wright to just go eat up innings at this point in time in the season. Yes, Atlanta is looking ahead towards, they're not going to be in the playoffs, obviously. But Kyle Wright, he's a piece that if they can get him down, he's got the sinker ball and the curve ball that play live at the big league level in such a prominent way. And it comes with a 56.2% barrel percentage, ground ball rate, 56.2% ground ball rate. Don't know why I said barrel percentage. That would be the most ludicrous barrel percentage. In fact, his is really bad at 12.3%. But if that ground ball rate can somehow start to reduce some of this hard contact, he could be a weapon for this Atlanta team, if not as a starter, coming out of the pen in certain situations throughout the playoffs. So I do expect Kyle Wright to be somebody that they give a long leash for because they need better stuff. Zach Wheeler's got the stuff. He's got a 278 xWOBA again this season, 27.3% K rate, 5.4% barrel percentage, and yes, just a 41.4% ground ball percentage, but weak fly ball contact out the wazoo. So friends, it's disgusting to say this about Kyle Wright, but they're going to be backing him in some capacity here, mainly because the pitch count is still pretty limited. Only 62 pitches in his first game back after 4 months off. And again, Kyle Wright's somebody that they want to work up. Again, they're going to give a long leash to just get out of jams and things of that nature, but he can't go beyond 70, 75 pitches. And that turns this into a bullpen situation alongside Zach Wheeler, which makes this in under the daddy, like under 9.5. Fire it up. Another like for you. Get ready for a couple unders on this card. Get ready for $250 in your pocket. Well, kind of. Here's how this works, friends. You bet $50 over at Caesars Sportsbook. You're going to get yourself 5 $50 bets. That adds up to $250 because look at that. I'm good at math. But you simply go down to the link below. You click on it. You enter Caesars Sportsbook for the first time period, and you're going to get yourself $250 in the form of 5 $50 bonus bets when you bet your original $50. So whether it's one of the Monday Night Football games you want to fire, if it's something here on this 11-game MLB slate that you're interested in, that's kind of my guess considering you're watching this lovely program, right? Right? Or you can save those bets. You can be responsible. If you don't like anything on this card, save it for the next day or the next day. But put $1 and get a car, put $1 and get a car. You're going to get yourself no cars, only 5 $50 bonus bets, but that is 5x your investment of $50 that you have in Caesars Sportsbook. They're going to pay it out immediately with a $50 bonus bet. And then every Monday, which is tomorrow, so you should get another one, you'll get 4 Mondays of $50 bonus bets. Does that make sense? Awesome. You'll get ammunition. It's fantastic to be able to fire off whenever you please. It is phenomenal that Caesar Sportsbook's giving you this opportunity to jump in. So don't wait. Appreciate. Get yourself a W today. Start your day off with a win by getting these $250 bonus bet offer. It's only if you're 21 and over. And if you have a gambling problem, please call 1-800-GAMBLER. Alrighty, y'all, back to the picks. I'm already ashamed. I'm a little bit ashamed because there's a part of me that wants to pull the trigger on this. I'm not narrative-based. I don't think narrative-based anything can help you as an athlete perform better. It might incentivize you. You might care more as an athlete, and the really good ones, they're going to probably perform well anyway, but this is so trappy. Freddie Peralta, fastball Freddie, who's just mowing down everybody, going to go into St. Louis and take on Adam Wainwright, who we have been picking on all the live long day, every single day, all the time. But Adam Wainwright is going to be in the MLB for another week and a half before riding into the sunset. And it's probably going to be 2, maybe 3 starts. If it's like, hey, I don't care if my elbow falls off on that Sunday for that last game of the day, when everybody starts at the same time and it's a stone cold disaster. And then they take one game and they say, oh, we're going to isolate that. But anyway, Adam Wainwright is at 199 career wins. Shit. All right. Freddie Peralta, friends, he's been really phenomenal all season long. I don't really know what to add. As long as he stays healthy, Milwaukee's got a chance because you have Brandon Woodruff, you have Corbin Burns, you have Freddie Peralta. You got a chance in any series of any length because those three, rotate them between, have 1 day of rest somewhere in the middle of it. Pretty godlike how good that rotation is. 31.2% K rate from Peralta, 279 xWOBA, 206 expected batting average. Friends, these are good things. These are good things in life to have. 42.1% ground ball percentage, decent enough. I mean, it's basically league average. It's fine. Has Victor Caratini back there sometimes. That's the one guy I want to avoid in the catcher position. But William Contreras, probably going to be catching because does it most of the time, as he should. Anyway, Adam Wainwright, 410 xWOBA, 574 expected slugging, 11.3% K rate, 11.7% barrel percentage. He's been one of the worst three pitchers in baseball. And yet, somehow, some way, I think there's a way that I pull the trigger on plus 145 because if he can get himself, he is going to do everything in his power to get to 5 innings and complete them and try to be in line for the win. And St. Louis is going to roll out A-team lineups when he plays. Do you see what I'm saying? There's no way that they are going to sit Goldschmidt or Arenado or Contreras or Walker or any of these guys, their main guys, because they want to get Adam Wainwright a win. So I do think the St. Louis lineup is one that might rest certain pieces as we get down to the end of the season on odd days where he is not starting, but on his starts, I think you're getting an A-team St. Louis lineup, and I don't think the books have that necessarily in mind when they're creating these lines. So narrative-based stuff is a disaster. I hate it. It's not in the data. I think you know by now when I'm saying X this and X that, and X your stupid wiffle ball bat, that there is something about it that matters a lot to me and should matter a lot to you. And I'm disregarding it in some capacity here because I'm leaning the St. Louis side, and no, I can't even look at you right now. I can't. I'm too ashamed. It's like a puppy who knows that he chewed up the newspaper. Do people still have newspapers? No, they don't. Bad analogy. It's like the dog who opened the fridge with their nose and they get in there and they grab that piece of steak and it's a delicious piece of steak. But then it's like, who the fuck ate the steak? Of course it was me. It was me. I can't look at you. I can't look at you. I was bad. I was bad. I'm a disgrace. Next game, producer Jacob. I said I liked unders on this card, and oh boy, this was a near lock. And obviously, yeah. Well, there's one coming up a little bit later, too, that was a near lock. We'll talk about it in the nightcap. But in this one, you got Jordan Montgomery, you got Cutter Crawford, two pitchers that I spoke kindly of in the past, mainly because they deserve it. Jordan Montgomery. Every time I see him, I'm just like, how on planet Earth did St. Louis screw this up so badly? How? You could have gotten so much for Jordan Montgomery here at some point in time, and you took the easy way out in some of these places, and I don't know. Not as bad as the Yankees screwed up. The Yankees screwed up way, way worse, but just saying. Just saying. Jordan Montgomery been fantastic this entire season. You got a guy sitting there with a 37.4% hard hit percentage, just a 21% K rate, but a sub 8% barrel percentage, neutral ground ball rate. I just like the sinker and the curve and the change and how they play up against some of these right-handed bats, because you would expect somebody like him, just with his profile, that he might get hit up on the opposite side. He's been pretty darn good at kind of avoiding some of these disasters, and I don't know. I think he's going to continue to be that guy for the Texas Rangers. They're probably screwed. No Max Scherzer, no Jacob deGrom. This season was kind of doomed in certain ways, but got Jordan Montgomery so far this season doing some really, really good stuff, and specifically just shutting down lefties completely. But a 164 ISO and 168 expected ISO against right-handed bats, that's really good stuff. That's going to be successful long-term in the Major League. The Major League what, Eric? It's Major League Baseball. The major leagues, period. Done. Good job forming sentences. Anyway, we're going to the Boston side of this one to talk Cutter Crawford, who's got a 35.4% hard hit percentage, 216 expected batting average since he's been lengthened out, just like what we've seen from him. And going to be a really nice third. I mean, Chris Sale's your number one still, especially if you're going to get the version that showed up in Toronto the other night. You just have a guy next season that could be your number two, number three in any capacity. Brian Bayo continues to evolve. Hopefully, he can just develop some more swing and miss as we get into next season, because that ground ball stuff, I just love his pitch mix and the way that he's able to get batters to do what he wants them to do at times. So that would be nice. I'd just love to see his AAA strikeout stuff come back. Either way, not pitching today. You don't care. I'm talking to myself. Let's talk about this. Cutter Crawford, he's that good. Jordan Montgomery, he's that good. You continue to have Aroldis, I almost said Aroldis Chapman. He's active. He's just fine for the Texas Rangers. Adolis Garcia is the name that I am looking for. He's on the IL still. That's a big bat to be missing in this lineup day in. Duran on the other side for Boston. He hasn't really been missed, considering we've seen Wilyer Abreu show up and hit 370 with a 961 OPS for these Boston Red Sox. But at the same time, left on left, that's not going to be a crime here. Just saying, Montgomery's been doing such a good job at neutralizing it that they're not going to want their lefties in this lineup. But that sets up nicely for me, because I find Story and Duvall to be brutal at this point in time with some of their abilities to strike out every time they're at the plate. Yeah, under 8.5. Easy, like borderline lock. Only a half unit though. Staying disciplined all the way to the end of the season. Oh my God, this team is just ruining my life. The Baltimore Orioles, the Houston Astros, and after being a print fest, an absolute print fest, specifically on the road, specifically in spots like this, I now have a reason to cheer against them. I don't know if you saw. Premium Discord fired it up, ended up betting them, the Tampa Bay Rays, that is, to win the AL East over the Baltimore Orioles, because they were plus 170, closed plus 145. Then over the weekend, they got down to minus 105. So basically kind of like in a pick'em type situation there with the Baltimore Orioles for that AL East title. And of course, Baltimore scores with two outs in the 8th today, 2 outs in the 9th today, 2 outs in the 10th today, and they win in the 11th over Tampa Bay to take a decent lead here. But they're in the tough spot as they are on the road in Houston, and you're going to have a pretty easy series for Tampa that we'll start talking about here a little bit tomorrow. But you got John Means going up against Justin Verlander, and Means is getting some pretty decent respect. Think about some of the numbers that we've seen for teams visiting Houston of late. Minus 200, minus 250. I have a Verlander number sitting here at minus 290. Oh, that was against the A's. Of course, he lost, so that's hilarious to me. But just saying, historical data, as I'm going through it, Houston has been massive favorites in these spots. And Baltimore, they have been awesome on the road. They have continued to do things to win baseball games in ridiculous fashions. They're in the heat of it. And Houston, they've started to gain a little bit of separation here in this AL West that is oh so competitive. You're looking right now, who's going to be the next team to emerge from that in the wild card spot? We shall see. People I know are cheering for Seattle. Oh. Pretty rough series against those Los Angeles Dodgers. They lost to the Dodgers like C team today. D team after the Dodgers clinched on Saturday. So brutal stuff. But going back to this, Means is getting a lot of respect. I think rightfully so. And Verlander on the other side, he's been much better in this Houston uniform. So what do we kind of make of this spot? I don't know. It's a very difficult one to handicap. I'm going to be looking at props per usual. Yordan Alvarez, we'll see if people want to get away from, well, not people. We'll see if the books want to be valuing Mr. Means in some kind of a capacity. It's left on left. Yordan Alvarez, maybe try to go Oppo Taco to the Crawford boxes. That might be fun, even though looking at his profiles, he's pulling pretty much everything there. He's one of the best hitters in baseball, though, so I'm not going to go too nuts here. Just saying. Houston money line minus 140 seems enticing considering the spot, considering Baltimore basically clinching their first playoff spot here in a long time, and now they're trying to win the AL East. Hopefully they go a little hard on Sunday night, please. No, they won't. It's a bummer. This is probably just a stay away in general. 3 more games to get to. Hit that like button, subscribe button, notification bell as we talk about the aforementioned Seattle Mariners. Some difficulties with the Dodgers, but you know what cures the woes? You know what helps you feel a little bit better about your schedule? Seeing the Oakland Athletics on it. And yes, woo, Brian Woo. Shout out Mighty Ducks 2. I'm going to miss all of these bits throughout the season. Going up against JP Sears. He's not closed. He's open for business today. I hope 4.40 ERA, 1.22 whip. He's not the easiest guy to go out of your way to pick on this Oakland side, but they've been putting out some interesting lineups. They've still had the Rookers. They've still had the Nodas. They've still had some of their top tier talent sitting at the top of the lineups, but there have been some real cave dwellers at the bottom of this thing. We're talking Lawrence Butler, who's actually a well-regarded prospect. We'll see. Jordan Diaz has been hitting the ball hard, but getting nothing for it with a 232 expected batting average, 383 expected slugging. Zach Geloff, he's been awesome still, even though it started to regress down to a 43.5% hard hit percentage, which is still above average, but not nearly near the 47, 48, 49% it was at for a long time. Big league pitcher starting to figure him out. But the main thing for me is I still really like Brian Wu, as does Fangraphs. Every projection site, Zip, Steamer, everybody's got this guy as a well above average rookie from the jump, and he has proven it. 31.6% hard hit percentage, 282 xWOBA, but 338 expected slugging with a sub 6% barrel percentage. That's elite. Like, that's elite. And now this Seattle team, as you break down the standings, needs to win baseball games now. I repeat, need to win. They are 2.5 back of Houston. They are a game back of Texas. This is a difficult spot, but yes, Houston in the previous game is going to be a huge deal. That entire series with Baltimore, both of those teams are going to be fighting tooth and nail. Seattle's going to come to play here against Oakland. They're going to be rolling out A-team after A-team. There are going to be no Cal Raleigh rest days in the near future. Otherwise, I'm going to flip shit. Especially here, because I'm going to be wagering more than a pretty penny here on the Seattle money line, minus 160. This is a weird line to me. This should be well north of it. And in fact, when you start shopping around, better shop around, shop. Minus 170 or north at pretty much every other book outside of one or two. So do your due diligence. Anything inside of minus 180, though, is in play for me. Maybe not to the like category, but up to minus 172, which is the listed number at FanDuel. I would still be locking this, still be firing a unit. Make it your parlay piece of the day. I don't care. Enjoy those times for yourself. Seattle Moneyline gets it done for us on Monday. Waka Waka. You got the San Diego Padres hosting the Rockies, and it'd be weird if I did that bit and then Michael Waka wasn't pitching. Then I'd just be a Muppet. Might be a Muppet anyway. The Muppets movie's actually really good with Jason Segel. If you've never seen it, Am I a Man or Am I a Muppet? If you enjoyed Flight of the Conchords, well, you're going to enjoy the Muppet movie. Same guy, music for that. Anyway, Michael Waka, good stuff. 3.43 ERA, 1.21 whip, although we have successfully picked on it in multiple spots here lately, specifically that Dodgers spot. Minus 1.5 came through, the over came through, and it was pretty much all at the hands of Waka. 4 innings pitched, 7 earned, 2 homers given up. I had fun. Hopefully you did too. But we're not going to be betting against him here in this spot. In fact, I'm going to be looking on the other side here. I expect it to be tie. And now, this is left on left crime, but I think sometimes coming down to the end of the season, there's certain players that it's like, hey, they're trying to find it at the end of the year. Juan Soto's starting to come a little bit alive it's not the wrong time. It's never a bad time to just go completely nuts, but 30 homers, 893 OPS. Weird to call it like a disappointing season for him, but it's just been a disappointing season for these Padres in general. And now you're seeing him hitting grand slams here on Sunday. And, you know, he's had multiple games of multiple walks. It's really on a tear the last month or so. And yeah, it's going to be weird without the Padres in the postseason. It's going to be weird. Maybe figure out your shit. That'd be good. Anyway, I'm looking at Juan Soto left on left against Ty Blach because he's giving power up everywhere, even outside of Coors. Just leaning that way. I have a feeling I'm going to like the number because it's going to be better than plus 400. There's no way that it's not left on left. It's probably going to be closer to plus 500. This could be one that I really, really like. Just do your due diligence. If you want to know if it makes my final card, hit me up at Eric Lindquist on X. And the last game of the night, I thought about locking this. I thought about locking this so hard, but we got Erod on the mound going up against the Los Angeles Dodgers and Lance Lynn. Now, there's a couple narratives at play at this one. Saturday, Dodgers locked it down, locked in the NL West. Congratulations to them. They're the best team in the NL as it stands right now, but they are really, really, I think, weak compared to some of these other NL teams in terms of starting pitching. And Lance Lynn has got to be a big part of it going forward. Traded for him from the White Sox, still giving up power from time to time, but he has been much improved. Helps to have a real catcher behind home plate because Yasmani Grandal, since his Dodgers days, has not been the same guy there in Chicago. So Will Smith, I would love to see him back in the lineup here. Austin Barnes caught on Sunday. Again, Sunday, they just phoned it in, put out their complete C/D team. No biggies ended up starting in that one. And, well, they just ran amok anyway. They had, Hayward and Outman and everybody just went nuts in that lineup. Not the big boppers, but they should be back in this for Monday. If they're not, yay for us again. That would be amazing considering I'm looking at backing both pitchers. But Lance Lynn up against a Detroit team that overall this season, they've been improved, but against right-handed pitching, still well south of that 100 WRC plus mark. So definitely not league average. Definitely not league average, even if this ballpark's going to be one. You kind of want to take a prop or two against Lance Lynn with these X-ISOs. But Eduardo Rodriguez, he's kind of the reason that I'm really behind this. He said no to a trade here with the Dodgers. That is this narrative that is in play. I think he's going to go out, try to mow him down. Again, narrative-based again to some extent. I'm out of my mind, but I'm sure the Dodgers don't really give a shit at this point in time. I would care if I were them because, Eduardo Rodriguez is really, really good. He's had a massive bounce-back season, 3.32 ERA, 1.15 whip. That would look really good on this Dodgers team come playoff time where you have Walker Buehler, who's now been shut down for the season. He had some kind of a setback from the Tommy John surgery, so he will not be back for this. Clayton Kershaw is always one pitch away from having a back problem. It's a terrifying situation there. You have Dustin May gone for the year. There are so many pieces from this Dodgers team that are just shut down right now from a starting pitching perspective. And Eduardo Rodriguez would have looked awesome, but I think he's going to look awesome here in this spot. Yes, he's given up 4 earned in 2 of his last 4, but even that I think would be good enough because I expect Lance Lynn to be able to go in and mow down some of these Detroit bats. We'll see if they end up rolling out their A team because you have Torkelson, against right on right, Kerry Carpenter from the left side, Vierling, Andy Ibanez. These are some guys who hit the ball hard, but outside of that main core, Jake Rogers probably goes in that grouping too. Outside of 2 or 3 guys, really, you're not looking at anybody with power or even speed that can really make life difficult on Lance Lynn. So the under of 8.5, I like it to get out of here. Only reason I'm not locking it is the potential that the Dodgers just say a little bit of that to Erod. It's not going to change anything. Again, that's what I hate about narratives. Whatever. Under 8.5. Fire it up. 3 unders on the card. I'm sure you love that today. And that does it for another edition of Lindy's Leans, Likes, and Locks. You know what to do. Go to that comment section below. Let me know your favorite plays on Monday's MLB slate. Let me know some of your plays on Monday night for football. I'm going to be doing Lindy's Leans, Likes, and Locks. Well, I take that to Twitter/X. I do Lindy's Locks update. But don't mind the fumbling around here right now. Just simply go to X, follow me at Eric Lindquist. I'm going to be firing up an update that will have some NFL plays from it just for you, watcher of this lovely program, and then anybody else who might follow me over there. So good stuff. Also good stuff by producer Jacob. We're back in the groove. Another week of MLB coming down the pipeline. Oh boy. Going to be a wild one. Until next time, friends, I'm Eric Lindquist. Best of luck in the MLB streets on Monday.